In this video, we're going to write our first queries with GraphQL. So in order to do this, we're going to be using a package called Apollo Server. So if we come over here, this is the package here. It's pretty popular and it's going to help us set up our server easily. So we're going to come down and we're basically going to go over this here and try to explain it a little bit and hopefully get our first queries up and running. So if we come over here, all I have is an empty folder open, and I'm going to come in here and create a file, call it index.js. And then in this file, we're going to first come and require Apollo server and also GQL. But of course we don't actually have that yet. So let's first come down here. And we first need to initialize our package.json. So that's pretty easy. We just go npm init and we can do a -y flag, and that'll skip all the different questions that they ask us. And then from there, we're gonna need two packages. So we're gonna go npm install, and we're gonna go apollo-server and GraphQL. So we'll let that install. All right, so that's all done there, and that should be, we can get rid of our terminal there. And let's come over and we're gonna finish here. So let's go, and that is require, and that was gonna require from Apollo-server. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is create our type defs, or our schema. So we come in here and we say const type defs, and that is going to be equal to GQL. And then how this is done is with backticks. So we do backticks here, come down, and inside of that, we're going to want to add our type. So the type is going to be of query, because we're writing our first query. So type capital Q query, and then we open up an object. And first, and to start with, we're just going to go name, and that's going to be a string. And we're going to put the bang at the end. So this here, the bang or the exclamation mark, just means that it's required. And string is obviously the type, so it's going to be a type string, and it's going to be required. So that's the only type def we're going to start with. So then we're going to come down here and go const resolvers, and that is equal to, and again we're going to go query, capital Q query, and open up our object here and name. So this is what we're going to see here. So when we query the name type, the name field, we want to run a function here. So we're going to do an arrow function, and we're just going to return the name. So we'll go Darwin for our name. Okay, so that's all we're going to have for our resolvers. Keep it super simple. And now we're going to set up our server. So we go const server is equal to new Apollo server. And then in here, we're going to add our type defs, and we're going to add our resolvers. And that basically sets up our server. And then to start up our server, we're going to go server.listen. And then it's going to be a promise. So we're going to go .then. And we're going to destructure the URL off that. Okay. And then in here, we are gonna do an arrow function and open up brackets, and we're just gonna console.log, and we're gonna go backticks here, and we're gonna go server is listening on, and then we're gonna go and pass in the URL that we destructured off there. And that should, I think, cover that. So let's save this. Now, in order to see if this works, we're gonna again open up our terminal and we are just gonna run it. So it's our index.js file. So we can just go node index.js and run that. And you can see we have a server listening on port 4000. So we can command click on that if you're on a Mac, and it should bring us to something called the GraphQL Playground, which it does. And this is a little tool that you can use to see our queries, which is pretty handy. So it has our schema over here, so we can see that, and it has our docs here. So it has, as you can see, we only have one query, it's name string. So it's pretty useful there. So if we want to come and run a query, we can actually run queries and see the result, which is pretty helpful. So let's come over here, and you can either just open up some curly braces, and that will just assume that you're running a query there, or you can type query, and you can see the autocomplete there when we're writing that, and it's a pretty nice feature of GraphQL Playground also. So we'll open that up, and our only query is name. So again, you got the autocomplete there. So let's see what happens when we run this query. And it comes back name Darwin. So that's basically your first GraphQL query. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Hopefully it was helpful. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe or hit like. And until the next one, thanks for watching.